guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Jackie, and today's video is very special because I'm going to be sharing the birth story of my baby boy. This is my third baby, and I always find hearing other birth stories so encouraging and empowering. It's just a beautiful thing. So if you are watching this video and maybe you are pregnant or you're nearing the end of your pregnancy, I hope that this video encourages you as you're gearing up for labor and delivery, knowing that you're going to meet your baby soon, and just know that all of the entire process, it's just so worth it once you hold your child in your arms for the first time and you just see their face and you're just so in love. It's a beautiful experience, and yeah, I hope this video encourages you guys. But I'm gonna just go ahead and jump into it. I also took some vlog footage, so I will overlay it over this video as I'm kind of sharing the story, and hopefully you guys will enjoy. So it was a Wednesday morning. I woke up around 7 a.m. with some mild contractions, and I immediately kind of started knowing that feeling. It's kind of like a cramping feeling, but I think because it was like 3 days late past the due date, I was thinking, I was really wanting to make sure like these are real contractions, I'm not just cramping or I'm not just feeling uncomfortable. So I didn't really like think too much into it, but I got up after like 30 minutes of just getting ready for the day and loosely timing them on my phone. Because they were consistent, I knew this is real labor and it's starting. And I had like a to-do list of things that I wanted to do before we left. So the first thing I did was I wanted to make a hearty breakfast for myself, because some hospitals, they don't allow you to eat, and I just, I didn't want to be hungry while in labor. So I made myself a nice hearty breakfast also for the kids and my husband as well. And then I wanted to make my postpartum meal as well, so post-delivery meal. In my culture, the Hmong culture, we usually do like a 30-day boiled chicken diet, and usually that's the first meal that you would have after giving birth, and then you eat that for the next 30 days. And it's just boiled chicken with some herbs and rice. And then my mom also suggested me eating egg drop soup before eating that meal, just to kind of like, I guess, prepare my stomach for that food. And so I was making all of that, just cooking up a storm in the kitchen while contractions were happening, and they were very mild, so I was able to do everything just fine. And again, contractions started at 7 a.m. By the time all the cooking was done, we ate breakfast, my mother-in-law was here, it was 11:30, and we were getting ready to leave. So I kind of took my time, and I did call the hospital, and they were like waiting, and they actually called me back saying like, are you coming? Like, it's been a couple hours. And I told them like, yeah, we were waiting for like our babysitter to get here. So we left the house at 11-ish and got to the hospital around 11:30. We get there, it's around 11:30, go to triage, check in, and my contractions were already about like 5 to 6 minutes apart, and I would say like it was a level 3 pain, so I could definitely feel them, but I was still able to talk through them. And once we got there, I was kind of breathing through them, but they weren't extremely painful. It was more so like I wanted to practice breathing through them. And the nurse checked me when we got into triage, and I was at 2 centimeters. 2 centimeters, guys. I made a decision, like a conscious decision. I'm not going to let this bring me down, because this is happening and my body knows what it's doing. And especially this being my third baby, I just really had no other instinct but to just like trust the process and trust that the Lord's timing is perfect. And I also know, like, from just having two babies, that birth is really unpredictable. Things can, change within a matter of minutes or hours. And so I told myself these things and stayed optimistic. So the nurse said, you know what, we want to, she checked in with the midwife. They said, we'll have you stay here for 2 hours, and then we'll see, at the end of that timing if you've made any progress or if there's any changes that have been made. I noticed that when I was being checked, I had to be on the bed on my back, and she also wanted me to stay there for a little bit because they were trying to like monitor my heart rate and the baby's. And I noticed that the contractions slowed down a little bit, like they started spreading out to like 7 minutes apart or so. So I knew, if I want to kind of keep this going, I want to be upright. So after the nurse left and kind of checked me off and said, you'll just hang tight for 2 hours, but you can move around if you want, as long as you're still hooked up to the machine. I got on my feet and I was kind of swaying back and forth. I got down on my knees on the floor, and my husband again did some counter pressure. I would do like deep breathing, counting my breaths, trying to really like melt in to the contractions and each surge as they would come. Like I just envisioned that, like I'm standing at the edge of the ocean and the waves are coming, and as each wave comes, it washes over me, and then it kind of pulls back out, and then you get like a moment of stillness, and then the waves come again. So that's how I visualize the contractions that I'm experiencing, just so that I can really like relax and just let it overcome me instead of like tensing up and like holding on to that pain, is what I would describe it as. So that's what helps me get through the contractions. And I'm have my worship playlist going at this time. I'm kind of getting into the zone. I also brought peppermint oil because I was a little bit stuffy. I was coming out of a sickness, and so my nose was not completely plugged, which I'm grateful for, but I did have a little bit of congestion. So I brought my peppermint oil just to kind of like be able to help me have like some sort of sensation of like, as I'm breathing in, I'm smelling something that is pleasant. After about an hour and a half, the nurse came back in, and she saw that I was looking a little bit more uncomfortable. So she was like, you know what, we're not at the 2 hour mark yet, but if you want, I can go ahead and check you because you sound and you look a little bit different. So I said, you know what, go for it. So I let her check me again, and she says, you're still at 2 centimeters. And by that time, my heart sank a little bit. And she asked another nurse to come check as well, just to confirm, which I thought was a little bit strange, but I'm grateful because the second nurse came and she checked me, and her eyes immediately lit up, and she was like, you're actually more like a 6, and you do have a bulging bag of water. So when she said that, I'm not gonna lie, I started tearing up a little bit because I knew that all the contractions and what I had been feeling, like the changes in my body within the last hour and a half, was not just all in my head. Like there was actually progress being made. So it was like happy tears. And so that nurse was like, you know what, call L&D to get the room ready, and we're not even going to have her walk over there because she's like, I don't want your water to break on the way. We're just going to go ahead and wheel you over because you're that close. So hearing all that was really encouraging, but like I said, birth is unpredictable. I was at a 2 just an hour and a half ago, and now they're like rushing me to labor and delivery. So everything was happening really fast, and it took probably like 10-15 minutes for me to get from triage to labor and delivery, that whole process. And then once I got over there, I was pretty much like feeling the pain probably around like a 6 or 7 now. And I was having to really focus, and I was starting to get a little bit vocal through contractions, just like low groaning, which is something that helped in my last birth. And they called the midwife in. She came and met us for the first time and just said, hey, how's everything going? Just checking in. And I had seen her once at the very beginning of my pregnancy. Her schedule was weird, so I never saw her again. So it was funny that she was the one that delivered my baby, but she was very nice. She was like, okay, they're telling me that you have a bulging bag of water. Do you want me to check and break the waters and maybe things will kind of progress quickly from there on out? Or do you want to kind of just labor and wait it out a little bit on your own? After my husband and I kind of talked a little bit, we just decided, you know what, we're just gonna wait a little bit. And she's like, yeah, no pressure. I'll come back and check on you. Just go ahead and do your thing, and we'll see where things are at when I'm back. So she left. I continued to labor. They had a birthing ball in the room, and I sat on that for a couple minutes. And I don't know about other women, because I've seen people say like they love the birthing ball and it really helps open things up. But for me, when I've tried the birthing ball while in labor, I just feel like it makes me feel like everything's getting pushed up, because you're obviously sitting down and there's that pressure like pushing up down there. So I don't like that feeling, because I feel like I'm regressing. So I was on the birthing ball for probably like a few minutes, and then like, no, like we're not gonna. I don't like this. So I ended up just like ditching that and just going back to my swaying back and forth and just breathing through contractions. I did have combs too, and I think I used those for a little bit just to kind of like have something to grip onto and distract myself. But at the same time, I feel like the combs, I get it how it can work for some people because it's like distracting, but at the same time, I feel like it makes me tense up because I'm like clenching on. So I feel like the swing and just like the envisioning of what I told you guys, like the waves just like crashing over me, is what really helps me to relax through these contractions when I'm having them. So I did that for like about 30 minutes, and then the midwife came back. And she's like, you're sounding a little bit different even now that I'm back. Like this was around 2 o'clock. And she's like, if you're okay with it, let's go ahead and check and see where things are at. So she checked me and she's like, you are at 8 centimeters now. So within a matter of like 20-30 minutes, I went from 6 to 8. And she asked if I wanted my waters to be broken. And at that point, it was like, she's like, the baby's not in optimal position, but if we break the waters, it could help him descend and kind of get ready for you to get into transition. So they were kind of making it seem like everything's going to go so fast if you break your waters, right? So it was very tempting. So I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and just break the waters, right? She broke the waters, and I could feel like a release of just like pressure that I was feeling down there. And immediately the contractions went from like a pain level 6 to 8. I did feel myself losing control. Like before, I was doing controlled breathing, just swaying, just, like staying zen. After my waters were broken, I was starting to have doubt, like, can I do this? Because it was starting to hurt and get very, very, very uncomfortable. And they put me in that laying down position with the peanut ball, and that hurt so bad, like laying down on my side with the contractions coming over me. That was probably the worst of it. And I did probably about like 3 contractions in that position, and then I started to feel the pressure of baby's head descending down. And the contractions also started getting on top of each other, so I didn't have much time to breathe. And I thought I was gonna give birth on my knees, or like on hands and knees, or either like on my knees, like propped up onto the back of the bed, just because I wanted gravity to help. But I just could not get comfortable. And I was just like basically crying out for help, like, just tell me what to do at this point, because I felt helpless. And my husband was doing his best to just like be there, giving me eye contact, encouraging me, letting me know like you're doing great. But it was the nurse that was there that really stepped up to coach me through this last phase before baby came. She could feel my panic, and she started coaching me. So she's like, here, let's have you lay down on your back, and I want you to curl up into a ball like a cannonball. And she held my leg up, and my husband held my other leg up. And at this point, the midwife was like, okay, we're going to get ready to start pushing, because by the sounds of it, baby's head is, gonna be coming out soon. Then after about, I would say like 10 minutes of pushing, baby's head was out, and it literally felt like I was pushing out a bowling ball. Like, it felt impossible to do. Having the ability to feel everything is just so wild and crazy. And they were like, his head is out, his head is out. One more push, and then his body came out. And he was born, they marked the time 2:48 p.m. From the time my water broke, or they broke my waters around 2 o'clock, with the, going from an 8 to 10, it was about 50 minutes, right? Baby was 8 pounds and 9 ounces. He was my biggest baby. My girls were 7 pounds and a few ounces. This boy was 8 pounds, 9 ounces of pure love and perfection. They laid him on my chest, and I was just so grateful that it was over, because it was probably, I would say, my hardest birth, because obviously my first one was with an epidural, so I didn't feel really anything. My second baby, I had her in the tub, and I just feel like that birth was so beautiful in its own way, and just, it was less painful for some reason, than this third one. Probably because this third one, baby was bigger, and I was laying down on the bed. So yeah, they put him on my chest, and he was just so calm and peaceful. Obviously he cried, but he was just so calm and peaceful. He's been that way since he's been born, and he's been such a gift to our family, such the perfect little addition to our family, of now 5. And we are just praising God and giving God glory for a healthy pregnancy, healthy baby boy, and just a smooth delivery and everything. Something unique and interesting about his birth too is because the actual pushing process was so fast. Like, within a matter of 10 minutes, I was pushing and he was out. His face was bruised, so he had like these blood vessels that had popped, and his face was like blue and purple, which was just a little alarming, to be honest. So like after a couple days, everything went back to normal. His color was normal. But yeah, for those first few days, he was like a little blueberry, which is just really funny. It's going to be a funny memory to look back on. But yeah, that is my birth story. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. It's just so fun recapping it. In the moment, it's not fun. It's actually very, very uncomfortable and challenging. But when you get through the other side, it's just so beautiful and worth it. And I just give God praise for my babies. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.